I came outside and wanted to do this last one. It's October, I think it's 23rd. What is it, 23rd? It's Friday. It's 1:36 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I was inside. Here's the thing. When Antonin Cataruzzo, which is my grandfather, he was contacted by I used to spend the day with him, and he was very, like, staunch and, like, manly. Like, I don't know, like, he was my comfort when I was little. The only male ever around the house, because then there was Lewis. And so my grandfather and I would talk a lot. I would spend some time with Judy. She would babysit, and they were my two babysitters. And so Judy was doing a lot of work, trying to figure out what was going on and trying to help me for the future. And she was talking to Tony and asking him, kind of interviewing him, asking him about Lewis. Now here's the thing. Judith found out about the STAR program, like the boarding school that I was supposed to be going to elsewhere. And a whole lot of other information that she passed on to Tony, which he understood. Now, I'm in the kitchen, and I have my grandfather, which I call my ancestor, but he's alive the same time as I am. And I'm trying to explain to Lewis, my idiot father, just in front of his father, just how important my life is. And the fucking piece of shit Lewis sits there and starts laughing hysterically. Now, Beppy, I think it was Beppy, had called or mentioned shortly after, I don't know, it's all on documents, like, there's inside work that we do, and then there's outside work. There's the sour phase, and, like, the source phase. And then there's, like, the inside, like, you know, we're working on stuff, we're getting stuff done. Like, nothing hurts more than, like, never being successful at something. It is so frustrating. So anyway, so I explained a lot. Okay, so Lewis, listen. I said, because my grandfather gets it. He's my ancestor right now, and his name is Antonin. I said, I'm going to have a son. I'm going to have several sons. I said, but I'm going to have one son, my first son. I was like, his name is going to be something significant. It's going to be Benjamin. Now, Antonin, my grandfather, is going to die before I have my first child. He already knows it. He agrees that he knows it. I already know it. Judy already knows it. Whole world already knows it. I was like, now, I'm going to have a son, and it's going to be a reincarnation. That's what they call it, Lewis, of your father. He will have the personality, like the intonation. He's going to have the soul of what is now at size Soviet, like 4 or 5, Antonin. Now, Antonin was a Christian from Italy. So I said to, and my father was like, he's like, but how do you know? I'm like, what do you mean, how do I know? I was like, because you have, like, a sleeve. I was like, see my red sweatshirt? I think I had a red sweatshirt with a hood on, because I didn't want it to be touched by the sun outside, because I was being told all sorts of horrible radiation stories. So I took my sleeve, and then I took my arm out of my sleeve. I said, that's what happens when you die, or when your father dies, my ancestor Anthony dies. He's gonna come out of his sleeve, and then when I'm ready and it's cosmologically and astrologically possible, we're going to slip his innard back into another sleeve, and he'll be born perfectly correct as my first son. Does that make sense to you, Lewis? And he was like, he goes, where do you come up with this? Like, is this, like, where did you find this out? And I'm like, was your son, I looked at my ancestor, my grandfather, and I said, was your son always this difficult to speak to? And I'm like, was he really, I'm like, I want to say the word dumb, because it's one of the words that they gave me, but I mean, I'm looking at him, I'm looking at you, and there's a clear difference between your generation being born perfect, and I want to repeat that in my own children, and what Lewis came out as. And so my grandfather started laughing. And so he goes, you know, it is funny. He said, I've always had the same feeling. He says, I've always had trouble speaking to my son. He says, I say things, and it's like, look, Louis, and then he made a funny sound. And I'm like, yeah, well, why? I mean, I'd ask you why you gave him to me, but I know that it wasn't your fault, that the whole world is off, and that's half the reason why I'm here. I don't like him. I'm sorry. I know he's yours, and I know he must be special to you. I was like, I really like you, and I really like Judy, but I don't like Lou and Linda. They're just not right in the head. Now, if you knew about star programming in the Extra Special Club, there are ways around Lewis's level of stupidity. He should have been programmed properly, considering he's in my impact zone, in order to say, yes, Zarina Nicole, you are star special. I mean, a script would have been great, instead of the fucking comedy piece of shit show that you made him into. So, boarding school never happened because he made it like a laughing stock, which was really fucking obnoxious, as has been my entire fucking life with him around. So, like, when do I get to lose his sleeve? Because there's no innard at all inside of his sleeve. There's nothing. It is just strict Linux or Perl programming in like a green and black matrix, not very special at all. But that's how 90% of what walks around in my impact zone, that's exactly how they are. So now, when does my life change significantly? I'm just curious, because I've been reporting this back to like Extra Special people since, before I was born, as it was broken. I think we left Legacy, Legend, there's some religions on it, right? Yeah. There's some manuals at Citadel level. There's some international cooperation, so I heard. I mean, I know I'm in the cesspool, that's why they call it the Constitution States. That's the cesspool that you hover your ass over and you just take a shit on top of all the kids and go, deal with it. Right, yeah, thanks for leaving me here. And so let's think about this. We've got... let's think about this. I know Royal Air Force and Ministry of Defense is in Western Eastern Europe, and they're also in Canada. Not that I've seen any of them. They might be elsewhere. I just have no idea or any way of verifying. Let's think about this. Alright, so that goes back to star programming. Right, so like that whole scene, SCENE, should have been really different, because my grandfather, who's now Benjamin, he got it. He understood. It wasn't that hard to tell him. But then there's the empty sleeve, Lewis, and his comedic, disgusting, foul generation of baby boomers that are all sorts of misprogrammed. And, like, I don't see where that was supposed to be my fault at the shame club. I mean, like, I didn't ask for this. I didn't want to be born here. I've been asking every fucking day to leave. And yet, here we are.